Hi everyone, this is Neel, Raithatha, consultant, audiologist and director of ClearWax. Thank you for joining me in my latest video using the iClearScope endoscope. And this is a sequel, if you like, to a video I posted last week where a 16-year-old child attended with suspected bilateral cholesteatomas. And what I showed you in the previous video was their right ear, and this is their left ear that you're seeing. Now, this was the worst ear for the patient. This is the ear that they were experiencing more symptoms in. In the right ear, the ear canal was very similar. They had all this pus and macerated dead skin, similar to what you're seeing here. And if you did watch the last video, one of the things that we had to query is this patient experiencing outer ear infections, so otitis externa, or is all this pus and discharge originating from within the middle ear and leaking through, or is there a cholesteatoma? Now, in the right ear, they had a red mass almost dangling in front of the eardrum, and it was extending from the attic region where the patient had a retraction pocket. And that was granulation tissue. And once I removed that, we could see the eardrum, we can see there's a retraction, and you could also see some granulation tissue embedded in that retraction pocket. Now, in their left ear, this patient was also experiencing some pulsatile tinnitus. It was cardiosynchronous. So what we mean by that, the pulsing was like a whooshing sound they described. It was in line with their heartbeat. And I probably didn't upload the video to it, but before I started removing all this discharge, I managed to get the endoscope through the pus and discharge. You can actually see their eardrum pulsating. You might hopefully see it during the course of the video. Now, I've cleared the main blockage. All this skin is macerated. I'm going to mop up a little bit, but this is not what's causing the patient's issue. And I'm looking at the eardrum, but it just doesn't, I'm like trying to figure out all the different landmarks. What am I looking at? Because it's not your typical eardrum. All I can see, there's on the left-hand side of the eardrum about 9 o'clock. Is it a perforation? Is there a hole in the eardrum, or is it a retraction? But you're looking for all the other familiar landmarks. So the handle of malleus, the hammer bone, light reflex. Obviously, we probably won't see that because it's an unhealthy eardrum. And at the moment, I can't really see anything. All I'm seeing is a bulging of the eardrum, and to the left, it looks like it's sucked in. So this patient's head is also slightly tilted forward. So although that retraction, it was a retraction at 9 o'clock, it's west, but if the patient was upright, it was actually north, so it's more of an attic retraction. And essentially, what I suspect this patient has got is a middle ear cholesteatoma. And I did explain what a cholesteatoma was in my previous video, so please do, I'll try and put the link in the description because I'm posting on different formats. I'll try my best to do that now. This patient, just give you a bit of a backstory, they developed an infection in their left ear end of last summer, treated with some topical and oral antibiotics, I believe. Symptoms never really went away, but it improved slightly, and then they came back with a vengeance just before Christmas, and that was in both ears. They tried various antibiotics again from the GP, who has taken a swab last week and also referred the patient onwards to ENT. And it was a standard referral, so at the moment it's like a 9 to 12 month waiting list. So when this patient came, what alerted me to a possible problem with cholesteatoma or middle ear infection is that whooshing, that pulsatile. And you can see at 9 o'clock, it's full of keratinous, wet debris. So there's a bit of pulsing there, hopefully you can see. But that's the patient's eardrum. That's the attic, and it's much more severely retracted in comparison to the right side. And what's happening, all this pus that you're seeing that I'm vacuuming, it's all originating from within that retraction, and then it's leaking out. So I've got about 5 minutes, so I'll explain what a cholesteatoma is, just in case you missed the video the other day. Before I do that, there's a couple of questions that I saw about a cholesteatoma. Someone asked, so this is an external auditory canal cholesteatoma, which are probably deemed more rarer, and they probably are more rarer. This is more your traditional cholesteatoma that we generally see. So 9 o'clock there, that's the retraction pocket. Now, this patient's got very, very narrow ears, very bendy ears, so it's very difficult getting access close to the eardrum, particularly on the left-hand side, which is the anterior recess, and there was a bit of discharge there. I managed to get the majority out. So yeah, a traditional, if you inverted cholesteatoma is it's not as rare as the external auditory canal cholesteatoma. That's when you get a cholesteatoma forming on the ear canal wall itself. This is your kind of more typical. The eardrum's been sucked in because of negative middle ear pressure. We want the air pressure behind the eardrum to be equal to the air pressure in the atmosphere. And what regulates the air pressure in the middle ear, so the cavity behind the eardrum, is the eustachian tube that connects to the back of the nose, the nasopharynx. If that becomes blocked or if it becomes dysfunctional, so it doesn't open when it should, no air can enter the middle ear space, and all the remaining air is sucked in and absorbed by the skin lining the middle ear, the mucosal skin. And when the air is absorbed in the middle ear and there's no more air, it creates a vacuum, so the eardrum gets sucked in, similar to like when you're on an aircraft and you're descending. And typically it's the top part of the eardrum and the top rear part, so in here it would be north and northeast. That part of the eardrum is most elastic, it's more susceptible of being sucked in due to negative middle ear pressure. That's created a pocket at the top of the, in this case, in the attic, the top part of the eardrum. Now, the eardrum, the outer layer, and also the outer layer of the ear canal is lined with epidermal skin. This skin is formed at the center of the eardrum, and the skin cells then migrate radially. So if you imagine you've got a little pond or puddle, you drop a stone in the center. The pond is the eardrum. You drop the stone or pebble, you get this ripple effect. So imagine those ripples being the skin being formed at the eardrum, then migrating, and then it lines the ear canal until it eventually exits the ear and sheds. Now, the skin can also radially migrate upwards, and because this patient's got a retraction pocket, that skin is migrating within the retraction pocket, and it then forms into a cyst, and the skin almost coils around. So the epidermal layer of skin has 5 layers. I won't have time to explain all of them. In the ear, there are actually 4 layers. You got the stratum basal, which is the base, the innermost layer of the epidermal skin. And at the basal layer, that's where the skin cells undergo mitosis, cell division and replication. And then the outermost layer of the skin that we can see of the epidermis, that we can actually see, that's made up of keratin. So with a cholesteatoma, the dead skin cyst kind of almost wraps around itself, meaning the basal layer is then external, and the layer of skin, the most superficial layer of skin that we can see, is actually inside the cyst. So the keratin is forming within the cyst, and the outer layer of the skin, the basal layer, is replicating and forming new skin, and that's why it forms, it's in a cyst and it grows bigger and bigger. And at the basal layer, it releases what we call lysosomal proteolytic enzymes, which are enzymes released by the basal layer of the skin, and it basically just destroys everything in sight. It chews up flesh, bone, nerves, anything in sight. And because this cholesteatoma is forming in the attic, obviously it's continuing to grow. So another point was, can you not just treat it with antibiotics, or can you will it just self-resolve itself? Typically not, because although if you take antibiotics, which is obviously still recommended, it will help stop the bacteria, which also release these proteolytic lysosomal enzymes, but that it's not going to stop the cholesteatoma, the dead skin cyst, forming. So eventually down the line, you're going to get discharge again. The bacteria is going to come back. So basically, this dead skin cyst it's stuck in the attic. It's growing inwards. It can grow up towards the brain, to the back of the ear, the mastoid. And because it can grow up towards the brain, it can erode the tegmen tympani, which is a thin plate separating the middle ear from the cranial cavity. And if it erodes that, the bacteria spreads up towards the brain, to the dura, the meningitis. It can leave you with the brain abscess, meningitis, and it potentially can be fatal. So that's that. It's inside there. So ENT need to suction it out, and obviously have a CT scan. I hope you enjoyed that video, guys. This patient has been seeing ENT urgently now. Take care.